And we're back on Singapore Tonight. Non-profit organization ImpactSG is aiming for other ways new donors can help the underprivileged. These include children living in rental households and supporting others with cancer. At the organization's official launch, President Tharman Shanmugaratnam met some of the 75 donors it's worked with. It aims to raise its donor numbers by 25% in the next year or so. ImpactSG has lined up several initiatives in the pipeline, including career talks in schools and company visits. And I sat down with Ravi Menon, ImpactSG's board chairman, and began by asking him about the organization's vision.
We now have a better understanding that it's not just about giving in terms of numbers and amounts, but actually to cultivate a more relational kind of ethos around the act of giving, not just transactional. And that means more informed giving, giving that has an eye to impact. In other words, a more sophisticated, a more empathetic dimension to giving. It is to go more upstream, to actually act as a funnel for givers to enter the ecosystem. Those who are new to Singapore, those who are new to giving, or those who have been giving but not been giving in an impactful or informed manner.
The latest national giving study by NVPC showed that volunteering rate rose from 22% in 2021 to 30% in 2023. Donation rate remains stable, but median donations and hours volunteered on average decreased from $200 and 12 hours in 2021 to $100 and 9.43 hours in 2023. What do these numbers tell us, and how does the organization intend to fill the gaps of Singapore's giving ecosystem?
I think one area where we can do better is for givers to be a lot more engaged with those to whom they're giving, to have a deeper understanding of the challenges in society, the problems people face, what their needs are, and how best can my act of giving help, how best can it make an impact. I think maybe that's why our name is ImpactSG, because we want to focus on our minds on maximizing impact.
You know, when we speak of engagement, we also think about trust, and trust is such a major factor. It, shapes the volunteer experience and determines how much people actually want to give. How can charities and the relevant stakeholders strengthen trust with the public, with the givers, so that contributions can really make a lasting and tangible impact on the ground?
Yes, trust is the key currency in the giving ecosystem, because without trust, I think it is very hard to envisage how you can improve this. And trust comes from transparency, from good governance. A lot has been done in the last 10-15 years to raise standards of governance. Having said that, always room for improvement. To translate trust into active engagement and empathy requires even more transparency and knowledge about what is going on. So I think we need to go beyond the basic reporting requirements and the governance requirements to actually demonstrate how people are being helped. If some programs are not quite working as well as they should, then we need the honesty to have to discuss that openly.
There is greenwashing, and then there's good washing or charity washing, which involves companies hiding their less than savory investments and practices underneath their charitable donations. How big of an issue is this in Singapore?
That's cropped up as an issue in some countries. I don't think it is a problem here. But having said that, as more companies get into corporate social responsibility and so on, this is a risk that we need to watch. And I think market discipline must exercise on them. Media scrutiny, I think, is very important in that regard. While I would wish they would be more consistent, the fact that they are actually doing some good, I think should be appreciated. There needs to be greater consistency with the good that they're doing on the CSR front.
There are 70 notable pledges and ecosystem partners. that have come on board. What are some of the significant initiatives that ImpactSG has kickstarted on the ground?
One of the things they've done is just a very simple thing, is to look at neighborhood schools. Neighborhood schools don't have very, say, influential or very engaged or very well-off alumni. And you know, schools depend a lot on their alumni for a variety of extracurricular support. You know, people come to speak to the schools, speak to the students. So there's a certain amount of social capital that's built up when students get exposure to the wider world through some people like these. And what we've done is to connect interested pledges to sit on school advisory councils and bring in networks of speakers and so on, so that the student body and also the teachers get exposed to quite a different world.
With this momentum, Mr. Menon, what would be the organization's ambitions for region-wide impact in the years to come?
We want Singapore to be a force for social good in ASEAN. That's our immediate neighborhood. I think it builds a better rapport if we are seen as giving selflessly to the region. And it does, and this doesn't have to be, you know, G to G and, you know, in an official sector, but people to people engagements. And it's also an opportunity for those who want to give and those who want to do good in Singapore to be actively engaged with similar people in the region, working together on common causes.